Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping plan with me. This is for the week of April 21st through the 27th, and I'm using leftovers this week. I kept it really simple because this was just kind of a more standard work week, but this is called I Read a Lot from Cinderella Paper, and I used this both because it was Independent Bookstore Day on the Saturday of this week that you're seeing here, and also April is National Poetry Month, and I went to a poetry open mic on my campus this week, which was just kind of something I was doing to kind of kill time in between my classes, honestly. But I'm really glad I went because I got to hear from faculty and staff and students who have been writing, and it kind of inspired me to start writing again. Have I done a lot of writing since this day? Not really, but I did used to write a lot of poetry, and I do miss that. I just feel like the last 5 years I haven't really been able to put my thoughts into words. So I don't know. But I thought this kit would be appropriate both because it's got lots of books for Independent Bookstore Day, but also because there's a Rupi Kaur book in the tall double box on the sidebar. And I don't feel like I've read a lot of Rupi Kaur, um, except for what I've seen in pop culture or on social media. If you enjoy it, that's great. I don't know that it's necessarily my type of poetry, but if you like it, that's great. Better than, rotting your brain on TikTok. Any sort of reading is probably better than that. So I'm just not personally a huge fan, but I did think it was appropriate for a poetry themed week. I would like to see a poetry themed art set or kit, but I don't know how popular that would be. But I think it would be worthwhile. Also, it was Earth Day this week, and I would absolutely love to see an Earth Day or an Earth Month themed kit. I know it would be kind of ironic for a sticker kit considering the amount of waste that is created by stickers. My approach to that is I try not to consume too much. I try to only buy what I know I'm actually going to use. I also kind of automatically do that just because I'm on a budget, but that is one way I try to cut down on things, and I use kits twice, like what I'm doing here. I use kits pretty much as I possibly can. I know I said as much twice in that sentence, but we're gonna just live with it. We're gonna move on. But yeah, I am going to use in this week an Earth Day sticker that I had from Oh Hello, and that was really the only shop I've ever seen do an Earth Day kit, and they don't sell that one anymore because I think it was a subscription kit a really long time ago. Or, you know what? I think it came in one of their boxes back when they were doing a subscription box with other things. I think I still have my little squishy octopus from that set. And that's why I bought that box, was because I wanted the kit really badly because it was a really cute kit. I think I used it back in either 2019 or 2018. I think it was 2019. I didn't fill my 2019 planner a lot because I was in graduate school working 2 jobs and in grad school full time at the same time. So I was busy and exhausted constantly. And even though I was working 2 jobs, I really didn't have much income either. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of money for stickers. So if I was ever going to go back and redo a year in my planner, it might be 2019 because there were a lot of great things that happened that year. There were a lot of terrible things that happened that year too, if I'm really thinking about it. But there are a lot of weeks when things were better that I would love to have nicer kits for, because I was definitely piecing together freebies and just doing things with the least amount of stickers possible because I had no money. I was on Medi-Cal in grad school just to make sure that I didn't have to pay the tax penalty for healthcare. That's where we were at. And then every now and then I would make $5 too much and get kicked off of Medi-Cal. Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, if you've ever been in that situation, absolutely no shame. I was trying to better my life and not making a lot of money while doing it, and I took the assistance that I needed because I was already 26, 27, 28 by the time I was in grad school. So yeah. Anyway, that was a total side tangent. We can get into California politics around Medi-Cal later and how I think our governor's kind of a hypocrite, but we're going to move on to the weekly plans. That's a talk for another time. I had to pull in a this week header and a weekly checklist from my leftovers collection because I didn't have them in this kit. And then I pulled in 2 half boxes from the kit to mark the weather this week. For some reason, it was really sunny and warm the first half of this week, and then really cloudy and rainy the second half of the week. And I went back through my planner and counted up all of the rainy days that we have had so far in 2025. I thought it was going to be fewer than this. We technically had 17 rainy days from January to now. Most of those were like in February and March. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it rained less than that because that's what it felt like. I didn't count any times that it like rained overnight. I only counted the days where I marked it in my planner because it like was visible during the day. I do feel like we have other rainy nights where like you don't even realize that it rained overnight, but it did. Anyway. And then I watched Bones season 7 and 8 this week. I think I finished season 7 at like the beginning of this week. It was a pretty short season, I think. And then I finished season 8 later in the week. So I marked that with a Sweet Ava's Paper judge sticker because it is a crime, sometimes courtroom show. Monday, this is the other thing that happened this week. Pope Francis's death was announced. So I marked that with a munchkin from Once More with Love. If you don't know, I was raised Catholic and technically consider myself still Catholic, except for the fact that, and whatever you believe is great. My husband and I don't believe exactly the same things other than to try and be good people and help people. That's what we have in common. So like how we get to that doesn't matter so much to us. So whatever you believe is great, as long as it's not like hurting people. But I believe in God. I'm kind of at a weird point in my life where I don't really believe much in the man-made institutions surrounding that. Emphasis on man, because one big sticking point for me is as a woman, I feel like I have something to contribute and I feel like I should have more of a role. And the Catholic Church at least says no. So that's where I'm at with that. I think Pope Francis was in the right direction. I don't necessarily agree with people who think that like he or his successor are going to like change stuff radically. I don't really see that happening, but we'll see. So that was that, but I will miss Pope Francis. I thought he was a step in the right direction. Moving on, I did go to work, so I taught my classes. I was really exhausted, and then I got a surprise plum paper planner this evening. So all those stickers on Monday are from Sweet Ava's Paper. What happened was they had to reship my plum paper planner last year, and then this day, the one that I had ordered back in like November, December, probably December, finally showed up. So now I have another one. I don't really know what to do with it. I might redate it for 2026 so that I don't have to buy another planner next year. We'll see. Tuesday, I marked that it was Earth Day. I did some reading, so that's from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I did some yoga, and then I graded exactly 2 annotated bibliographies because I was just burnt out. So those 2 stickers are from Sweet Ava's Paper. I had to finish a Google site for a professional development project I was working on this semester, so that's from Beneva Creations. And then this was the night that the freaking stupid autism registry thing was announced, which is so dumb. And also the whole announcement about like, we're going to find a cure for it by September. No, you're not. Like, I'm sorry if you believe that. If you believe this and you're watching this channel, this is not the channel for you. But yeah, that was dumb. So I marked that with a Sweet Ava's Paper sticker. Wednesday, I marked that it was 3 months till our Death Cab for Cutie concert. So I just used a record player, Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then I went and taught my classes, so that's from Sweet Ava's Paper. And then I marked this poetry open mic night with a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I had a really hoarse voice this day. I think it might have been an allergy issue, so I marked that with a sick day sticker from Sweet Ava's Paper. And then I marked that it was the dinosaur Christmas episode of Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. I will not explain more than that. So I marked that with a dinosaur Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. and this Christmas cat collar from Plan With Me Stickers. Yes, it was the Dino Christmas episode in April. I think that's all you need to know. I mean, what more explanation could I possibly give? It was really funny. I was there for it being a Christmas episode in April. My husband was there for it being a dinosaur episode. It was great. Thursday, I marked lesson planning with a sticker from Sweet Ava's Paper, and then I used this really old test icon from Cinderella Paper to mark that I was grading my students' thesis quizzes. I don't give a lot of quizzes. I really don't give tests, so this is my one opportunity to use a test sticker. For context, I teach intro to college writing most of the time, so like most of the time I'm not giving quizzes or tests. It's mostly essays and projects. I did some more yoga, and then I voiced over another plan with me this evening, so those both are from Sweet Ava's paper. Friday, I marked grading, excuse me, grading more annotated bibliographies. I think I had extended people's deadlines like a lot on this project, so I graded what I could at this point, knowing that I was going to have a lot more coming in later. I did laundry, and then I marked with this, I think it's supposed to be like a humid weather sticker from Sweet Ava's paper, but it looked like Clover when she gets upset. So Clover is my short hair calico, and when she gets upset, she gets what I call pine cone tail, because her tail just like inflates really slowly. And it looks kind of like a pine cone. So what happened this night was that our neighbors, our upstairs neighbors, are our friends as well. They have a little dog. He loves cats, but cats don't always love him. Like, he gets along really well with cats. So he came up to the screen door, and Clover was there, and he was like, "Hi, kitty," and Clover was not happy about it. So I marked that. She ran off with her little pinecone tail. She was very grumpy about it, and Rummy was like, "What? I just want to be friends." That poor dog. And then we went out to a dumpling restaurant for date night. So those dumplings are from Wonton and a Million, and the date night script is from Oh Hello Co. Saturday, I marked Independent Bookstore Day with this bookstore icon from Oh Hello Co. It doesn't really match, but I wanted to use it because I rarely have the opportunity to use this. It was a rainy day, so that's from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I did some reading, so I was reading A Fair World of Arms. That's also from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then there was a Comcast Xfinity outage in our area. This doesn't happen that often. I feel like this is the only time it's happened since we've lived here. Unfortunately, it did impact the bookstores for Independent Bookstore Day, so I didn't go out shopping this day just because I didn't really feel like it. But I'm kind of glad I didn't anyway, because it affected the local bookstores, like if they were able to process transactions and things like that. So that was unfortunate. So that's from Sweet Ava's paper. So while the internet was out, I filmed a plan with me, and I did a little workout, and I'm looking at my planner now and realizing that I put 2 stickers on the same side. It's not a big deal, but it is a deal, you know? So here we're about to do that. I don't know why I messed that up. I think I had already moved the square box like 2 times, so that might have thrown me off, but whatever. And then I was doing some planning by text with my 2 youngest sisters for their 2 different college graduations. One was in SoCal, one was in the Bay Area. So both involved a little bit of travel for us. And I was just trying to get things squared away with, like, especially for the San Diego graduation, like what we were doing afterwards or in the days around it, I guess. And also just trying to help them out with other people who maybe were not being as great about responding and helping them plan. So I do get annoyed because I feel like people with graduations kind of tend to like not take them as seriously as they do like weddings or like baby related stuff. And like, especially with weddings, I can say this as a married person, getting married isn't that much of an accomplishment. Like, I'm sorry. Graduating from college is a big deal, is definitely more of an accomplishment to me than getting married. Staying married, I think, is an accomplishment. Getting married in the first place, not so much. But like, people will bend over backwards to go to a wedding, and then for a graduation will like be like, "This is so boring," blah blah blah. I'm like, and I'm basing this mostly on things I've heard from other people, observed in their behavior, and seen online. I'm just like, don't be a jerk. Like, this is a big deal. This is like literally a once in a lifetime thing. More of a once in a lifetime thing than getting married, because let's be real. We all know people who've been married more than once. People act like it's a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm like, let's be real. But college, you literally only graduate once. So anyway, I don't know why I went on that rant, but I do wish people would take it more seriously when someone graduates from college and actually try and support them in that scenario. Then I had cramps. So that's from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. Sunday, it rained again. We went on a hike at a local nature center, which was awesome, even in like kind of the drizzly day. So that's from Sweet Ava's paper. I did some more reading, and then I was playing with Clover by chasing her and throwing her mask toy and all of those sorts of things. So I feel like I tried to tackle about 14 different topics, half of them kind of serious, in this plan with me in 15 minutes. If I rush through anything, or if you want to argue about any of these things with me, feel free to in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I stand by everything I said, though. I just said it very quickly. So yeah, enjoy. I hope you have a good week. I hope your life is more on track than mine was during this week. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!